All right, we're just going to hold on for another couple minutes so people can log on, and then we'll get started. Thank you for joining our second Digital SafetyCon. Today we are focusing on safeguarding workplaces from COVID. We have 5 vendors here to talk about their own product or procedures that may help in the workplace that range from communicating from a distance to a global glove update. We also have Katie Olson from Conney's safety consulting team, who will give an update on modes of transmission and how to prevent exposure in the workplace. This is scheduled to be about an hour, so we're aiming for that. We do not plan to have a live question and answer at the end, but please make sure to ask questions throughout in the questionnaire feature of the webinar, and we will make sure to get the answers back to you. So thanks again for joining and enjoy the presentations. First up, we have Tim Chismar from 3M talking about their Pelter product line.
Hi everyone, my name is Tim Chismar. I am the 3M Peltor product marketer for North America, and I really want to thank you for your time and attention today. It's my pleasure to be speaking to you. And I want to say a special thanks to Conney Safety for this opportunity to talk to you about 3M Peltor Protective Communication Solutions and how we can help your customers or yourself communicate effectively from a distance in noisy environments. So even though I am the product marketer, you can see that I have the headset on my head as I speak. What you don't hear are my 4-year-olds running around in the background. So while we typically sell to occupational settings, this is my occupational setting, and I make use of the headset myself. So today I'm going to talk to you about a few different protective communication solutions. The first one that I want to talk to you about and that we're receiving a ton of interest around these days is what we call the Lightcom headsets. So whenever you hear Lightcom as part of the 3M Peltor portfolio, what that means is that they are earmuffs that have a two-way radio integrated directly into the earmuff. So in other words, the earmuff itself is interchangeable with a two-way radio. It has a noise-canceling speech microphone, and we also have what is called Vox, or voice-operated transmission, which allows you to speak hands-free. You simply speak into the mic, and it transmits out. So thereby, it is a very convenient, standalone, plug-and-play headset where you can put these headsets on people, and immediately they can begin communicating from a distance. We also have a line of Bluetooth headsets that provide the same noise canceling microphone, but instead of using the two-way radio technology to transmit that message, they're using Bluetooth and then connecting to some sort of smart device, whether that be a smartphone or a tablet or something of that nature. So depending on what is the communication modality that the end user is using, whether it's two-way radios or smart devices, we have a headset that can connect to that or within it or use that technology in order to transmit that message to people that are distant from one another. Here you see a lineup of our Peltor headsets, and you can see that we have expanded this line over the years into as many as 5 different categories of products. You have the entry-level FRS headsets, and then once you get into the pluses, what you gain is the environmental listening technology, which I'll explain in a minute. Then once you start seeing the WS Lycom headsets, the WS implies Bluetooth. So not only does it have an integrated two-way radio, but it also has Bluetooth. The WS Lycom Pro 3 is available in both the navy blue and the bright yellow. And then finally, we have an intrinsically safe variety of the WS Lycom Pro 3. The Pro 3s mean programmable. So the idea here is that you can program these headsets to operate on an existing two-way radio infrastructure, certainly dependent upon how that infrastructure is set up and what frequencies they're using, but nonetheless, that is the intention so that you don't have to, you can just integrate right into the existing two-way radios that the end user is already using. The Bluetooth headsets, we also have an assortment of Bluetooth headsets. We have an entry-level solution, which is what we call the wireless communication accessory. And this is an accessory that snaps into an existing X series earmuff. It has the noise canceling microphone, but as you see, it's just on the left side of the earmuff when you're wearing it, and therefore, just based on it, it's an entry-level solution, but it also has an entry-level price point. Now, once we get up into the WS ProTech XBI headsets, is really where we have a premier protective communication solution that'll really help workers communicate in extreme levels of noise. Now, I also want to talk to you briefly about what we call protective hearing solutions. Now, these do not have wireless technologies, but they are an advanced hearing protector that helps you hear your environment when it's quiet. So it provides the protection when it's loud, but then can help you hear when it's quiet. We have both an in-ear solution in the EEP 100 and an earmuff solution in the Pro. Now, the way that the environmental listening technology works is that, as I said, when it's quiet, it allows the sounds to pass right through. So you can see on my headsets right here are some external microphones. And so those are always listening to the environment. It passes through to a microprocessor, and depending on the amplitude of the sound in the environment, either decides it's going to let it pass through, so if it's below 82 decibels, or if it's a hazardous noise, then it'll compress those sounds back down to 82. So it's dynamic in that it's always listening, and it's giving you the protection you need when you need it. And so in that sense, it becomes a less expensive option for some environments to help people hear their environment better and potentially communicate with others. And those types of environments are those with intermittent noise. So, it's quiet for a period of time, and then there's some banging, like for instance, maybe construction or a maintenance type function where you're transient, you're moving between loud and quiet areas. So you have you have the protection when you need it and ability to hear when you don't. Or if you have lower levels of noise exposure, then you're really just getting the amount of protection you need and not potentially being overprotected by a traditional protector. We do have cleaning and disinfection guidelines. This is a hyperlink, and I'll share this presentation, so please check that out. And we also have some accessories that can help maintain a hygienic headset, particularly if they're being shared. So this mic hygiene tape, I certainly recommend. This comes in a roll. You tear off a small square. It's tacky, so you wrap it around the mic. It sticks to the mic really well. And then when you're done with your shift, you pull it off, throw it in the garbage, and then the next person can put on a new piece of tape. So that's really handy. And then these hygiene pads act in the same fashion, except they establish a barrier between the skin and the ear cushion. And we certainly sell hygiene kits, which are the ear cushions and the foam liners that are replaceable as well. As a part of Peltor, we have a lot of resources, and certainly you should take advantage of those. We have hearing and communication specialists that are experts on the ground, helping with your hearing conservation program, all the way up to helping you hear and communicate. And then for Conney Safety, certainly mention John Studebaker, who can help with all things as it relates to the relationship between 3M and Conney. Certainly we have customer service, we have technical support, and we have a number of websites that you can use to learn more about our products and our solutions to help improve your hearing conservation program and your workers' ability to communicate with. I've also included several links in here of different brochures and how to use videos, again, to provide more information about the products that I've shown you today. Lastly, I want to thank you for your time and hope that all of you will stay safe, and I'll get to see and talk to you soon. Thanks again. Take care.
Next is Conney CSP, Katie Olson, talking about modes of transmission in relation to COVID.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Katie Olson, and I am a national safety consultant with Conney Safety. And today we're going to be talking about modes of transmission of COVID-19 and the role of face covering. So hopefully the topic of COVID-19 or coronavirus is not new to you. This is something that we've been dealing with for quite a while now. And what a lot of people don't necessarily know is really what the transmission looks like for COVID-19. Right now, based on data that we have from the World Health Organization, there are two main forms of transmission that we are looking at. The first is person-to-person contact, and that's really the one where we're kind of digging in with regards to protective measures, right? In terms of, making sure that we're cleaning surfaces, making sure that we're socially distancing. That really comes from that idea of person-to-person contact. And then the second is airborne transmission, which gets a little bit hazier in terms of how we can provide protection to ourselves and our employees from this transmission. So first and foremost, person-to-person contact. This is really based on the idea that when you're talking, coughing, sneezing, you are producing these droplets, right, from your respiratory system. And if you are infected with COVID-19, even if you are asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic, as they say, you can potentially have infectious virus in these droplet particles. And they're thinking that these particles range from 5 to 10 micrometers in size. And where we see the infection is when somebody who has not been infected comes in contact with someone who is producing these infectious droplet particles, and these particles land either in one of their mucosal membranes, like their nose and their mouth, or even in their conjunctiva, which would be the membranes in their eyes. So we really kind of attack this by making sure that we're cleaning contact surfaces. There have been cases that have shown, especially in healthcare settings, that if you come in contact with a contaminated surface, right? So if some of my droplet particles get distributed onto a door handle, right, and that doesn't get decontaminated, if you go behind me and grab that door handle and then touch your face, nose, or mouth, then there is the potential that you could be infected, and that's the person-to-person contact. What gets a little bit more difficult to discern is with airborne transmission. And so with airborne transmission, the primary thought here is that the particles that are being distributed are less than 5 microns in size. So very, very small particles. And because they are so small, it means that they can be suspended in air for a longer time. Laboratory studies that have been performed through the World Health Organization have shown that the virus actually can survive in air for up to 3 hours and travel distances over 6 feet, which is a lot scarier to think about than that person-to-person contact. And so these studies are very limited. So the laboratory studies that they've done is really just been through mechanical aerolization of the particles. So they haven't really seen anything in real world examples, but this is really a mode of transmission that we need to be more concerned about. Now, how does a face mask play into it? Given the 2 different modes of transmission that we just talked about and the different mandates that you have seen, whether it's a local mandate or a state mandate regarding face coverings, how are those really helping us? Well, let's take a look. So first and foremost, face mask requirements. Right now, as of this morning, actually, this map that I pulled from CNN, 25 states have requirements to use face masks in public areas. And so now what we're seeing is, organizations, employers that maybe necessarily didn't have any type of respiratory protection program previously are requiring their employees to wear some type of face mask to protect from spread of these respiratory particles. So, not only is it going to be a statewide requirement, here in Dane County, we have a county requirement. And I'm even seeing now a lot of retailers are going so far as mandating that their customers require a face mask when they are coming into the store. I think most recently Target, CVS, Walmart. If you are going to go into the stores, you also have to have a face covering. And really what we're looking at here is the type of face coverings that you need to have. What is going to be the most impactful or effective at protecting either you or others against COVID? And when it comes to the different types of masks, there are 3 main types that are out there right now. The first and the most effective at protecting you, the wearer, is going to be that N95. N95, as hopefully you know, is a type of respiratory protection that is approved through NIOSH, through a part of the CDC, and it protects you against 95% of particles that are 3 microns in size. So when you think of things like asbestos, in an occupational setting, those, silica, those are the types of things that we're usually using these N95 to protect against. Turns out they also do a really good job at protecting against the COVID virus as well. The next type of mask is a surgical mask, and we need to be careful with this because you probably can go into any retailer right now. Actually, I was at Target, on my very rare outing into public these days. I was at Target and saw that they were selling some masks that looked like this. However, surgical masks are approved by the FDA, and the reason why is that they go through several tests by the FDA to verify that they can withstand liquid droplets. So think about, a doctor using this in a surgery setting. And so going into like a Target or a CVS and just buying one of these masks, it's very unlikely that they're going to have the stamp of the FDA approval. And in that case, those masks would then fall under the cloth mask category. And you can buy these everywhere now. Many online retailers have started to make these cloth masks. I have a pack that I just bought from Old Navy, right? So these are cloth masks. And the principle here is not necessarily that they're going to protect you, the wearer, but it's meant to prevent you from spreading any of those potentially infectious respiratory particulate droplets that you may have. So let's take a look at how these 3 types of masks stack up against each other. So as I mentioned before, the N95 is evaluated and approved by NIOSH, okay? Surgical mask, it is not, but it is cleared by the FDA, which means that it has gone through some pretty rigorous testing to verify that it is safe to use in a healthcare setting, whereas the cloth mask is not reviewed or approved by any type of governing agency. Your N95, as it was designed to protect against those small particles from an occupational setting, like I said, think about asbestos or silica, it's gonna protect you against exposure to particulates, including those really small aerosols that we would be concerned about if it is true that, you know, COVID does have that aerosol transmission. Your surgical mask, not the case. It's really only going to protect you against large droplets. But again, it is, you know, gone through rigorous testing through the FDA to verify that it can protect against splashes or sprays of bodily or other hazardous fluids. Whereas your cloth mask, like I said, little to no protection from any size droplet and really just protecting against you from distributing or dispersing your respiratory particulates in the air. A lot of governing around the use of N95s. They are tight fitting, so a fit test is required, and that's part of the OSHA respiratory protection standard. Also requires a user seal check, which is not the case for either a surgical mask or a cloth mask. In fact, I think you would be very hard pressed to find a way to do some type of seal check on those two types of mask. And again, just looking a little bit into what they filter out, again, N95, 95% of airborne particles in the 0.3 micron range. Surgical mask, not really good for protecting against small particles, and your cloth mask is not going to protect against small or large particles. Some things to think about in terms of usage, you know, typically your N95 and your surgical mask are designed to be one-time use. However, due to the PPE shortages that we've seen with this pandemic, there have been guidances that have been put forth by the CDC or the FDA that allow you to reuse those. And your cloth mask is reusable, so you can actually reuse that over and over again. However, CDC does say that you should be washing your cloth mask after every single use, and just washing it in your, you know, a regular laundry machine is acceptable in order to, you know, decontaminate that mask. Now, along the lines of, you know, more in-depth, or I guess more comprehensive protection against COVID, you know, there's been a lot of talk recently about N95s and KN95s. And so for those of you who don't know, KN95 masks are masks that are similar to an N95. They're actually the Chinese equivalent of an N95 respirator. And that equivalency has actually been tested and deemed by NIOSH. So they say you know, under the circumstances that we see now with all of the different PPE shortages, a KN95 mask that is tested to this Chinese standard is actually appropriate and can be used as an equivalent to an N95 mask, which is really helpful because the KN95s are actually far more abundant right now than the N95s. They're actually also have been approved by OSHA. So if you know anything about the OSHA respiratory standard, you know that it really defers you to NIOSH's respiratory protection in terms of what can be used as a respirator. But on April 3rd of this year, OSHA actually put out a use authorization for KN95s to be used as an alternative to an N95 respirator if that N95 respirator or another alternative, so think like a half mask with a P100 cartridges, if those are not available, then KN95s can be used. Some of the models that we're getting in from China are actually also approved by the FDA to be used in healthcare, but not all of them are. So we need to be careful with, you know, how we're going to be using our KN95 masks. But overall, if you're in a situation where you're looking for a little bit more protection from COVID than, you know, a standard cloth mask, these are a really great alternative, and these are actually in stock right now at Conney. We have two different models that we have in stock, you know, that we can help you find just kind of based on your needs. You know, the one that I have shown here is one that actually is on the list of approved devices from the FDA, so it can be used in healthcare, while the others are other things that can just be used as an alternative to N95 or a cloth respirator. And so these are really good products to have on hand, just to, even if you're going into a Target or a CVS right now that they're requiring you to have face masks. The KN95 is a better alternative to just the standard cloth mask because it does have that protection for the wearer in addition to preventing you from dispersing your respiratory particulates as well. So with that, I want to thank you for letting me share a little bit of information regarding, just what we know so far about transmission of COVID-19 and, where some of these mask requirements are coming into play. If you have any questions at all regarding, COVID, your company's policies and procedures as it pertains to COVID, or any of the different face coverings that we talked about today, we definitely would be more than happy to help you. We have a team of safety professionals that know the ins and outs of respiratory protection, especially now as it pertains to COVID. So please feel free to reach out to us directly with the information that is shown here on the screen. And with that, again, I thank you very much for your participation today, and I hope you guys continue to be safe and be well. Thank you.
Jeff Reeder is up next to give a global glove update along with some possible glove alternatives that are available with Showa.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Reederer. I am the territory manager for Showa Gloves. I cover the state of Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula, but we have counterparts in all 50 states that do what I do. So if you are not located in those two areas, it's still easy to get a hold of somebody and take advantage of some of the resources that that I will be offering a little bit later on. So my goal today here is to discuss just the glove industry as a whole, give you a quick synopsis of what's going on, especially as it relates to disposable gloves and COVID, and some ways around some of the product shortages, and then just kind of touch on some other ways that we can all kind of get back to work and just kind of get through this time that no one quite knows how to navigate. So that being said, so here's the global glove update briefing. COVID-19, it's no secret, it's changed the supply and the demand side of gloves, especially disposable gloves, on a scale like has never been seen. So I'll speak to the demand side. That's pretty obvious. Everybody wants disposable gloves right now for sanitizing, for hygiene, for that kind of thing. A lot of industries are starting to use disposable gloves that have never used them. So people are calling, asking for them. And then, unfortunately, that leaves a lot of the people who do need gloves and have always used them a short of supply. And a big reason for this is the primary production area for single-use gloves globally. And this isn't just for Showa, this is for everybody. Roughly 70%, give or take, of single-use gloves come out of Malaysia and Indonesia, both of which were hit very hard by COVID and had some pretty strict restrictions on who can go to work, social distancing, that kind of thing. The net result is less people were able to get into the factories, which means less gloves left the factories. On top of that, a lot of the demand, or a lot of the production, was focused on medical grade gloves as opposed to the industrial side where we sit, for obvious reasons, for the clinics and hospitals around the world all fighting COVID. So that has left us with both a supply decrease while there's this simultaneous huge spike in demand, which obviously is kind of the perfect storm for things to be a bit difficult to find. Now, that's the backstory. How do we get around it is really the important thing here. So a lot of our gloves, so our single-use gloves, do also come out of Malaysia and Indonesia. And so we're subject to those same restrictions that every other manufacturer is. But what's good about our line is we have a factory we own down in Guatemala. And that's where all of our unsupported nitrile gloves make. The gloves you can see on the right-hand side there are examples. So these styles here, the 707 HVO, 707D, 717, 727, all of those are unsupported gloves ranging from 9 mil thickness up to 15 mil. Now, Guatemala is not subject to the same issues that we've had from Malaysia and Indonesia, so these are a little bit more available. These gloves are phenomenal, especially when it comes to sanitizing. These gloves are also all food safe. So the gloves I mentioned here, this second line, some of those are food safe, some are not, but all of these gloves are food safe. So that being said, the first bit of advice, if there are applications in a facility that do not absolutely require disposable gloves to be used, I would strongly recommend switching into something like this. Now, I understand there are situations where the only option is a disposable glove for a certain application, and there's no real way around that. It's just a matter of limiting how much you're using so that those applications where they require single-use gloves have them. Now, that being said, none of these styles are just sitting on a shelf somewhere ready to ship as we speak. Because of the disposable shortages, a lot of other places are switching over to using this type of glove. So while our supply is still strong, the demand is a lot stronger and outpacing it. There are other options as well, but especially when it comes to a lot of food applications and sanitizing and things, I would strongly recommend looking at these gloves. Now, these are not reusable in the sense that you cannot sanitize them and reuse them. There's just too many variables and too many things that could go wrong to know that they are properly sanitized. So I'm not going to recommend that you reuse them in that sense. But when you compare a 4 mil disposable glove to a 9 or a 15 mil, heavy kind of chemical style glove, obviously you'll get a lot longer longevity, assuming, the chemical usage and things like that is in line. So the other thing that I'm hearing a lot from a lot of my customers is it's just been a challenging year. I mean, it's been a challenging year for all of us in a lot of ways, business in particular, with everything shutting down. Some industries are booming, but a lot are not. And so one thing that I've been doing a lot of lately is trying to help lower costs, because obviously if sales are down, the only way to affect kind of the bottom line is to lower expenses. And so I've been discussing a lot of our glove styles here that are fairly low cost, last as long or longer, and at the end of the day end up saving money. So that's been a big push lately. Some of these gloves are actually quite good for sanitizing as well. So this right here is our 376. If you're using spray and wipe kind of sanitizers, that's not a bad option. Something like this is a cut glove that's also fully dipped in nitrile. That's another great option. But these styles here are kind of where I see the best bang for the buck and ways that we can save money. So I am more than happy to do glove audits, do floor walks, whether it's virtual or in person, see what's being used, and make recommendations. Obviously, the first priority is keeping employees safe. We're not going to save money by putting in gloves that are not to the cut standard or the chemical standard that's needed for the application. That's just not the right way of doing it, of course. And in the long run, will end up costing a lot more money when there's injuries and things. So we're not going to play that game. But that being said, there are a lot of times where I'll walk a facility and I'll recommend a glove. Maybe it's the same price as the glove that you're currently using, but it lasts 2 or 3 times as long. So you see that yearly expense really go down. So whether it's a cheaper glove out of the box or it lasts longer, which reduces consumption, know that that's a great option. That's something that the focus has really shifted to from what I've seen lately, simply because there's not a whole lot you can do to get more disposable gloves right now. And so we're kind of thinking about other ways that we can help your business. Now, these range in cut level from 3. This whole line are cut 3s. Here's a cut 7. Here's a cut 4, a couple more 4s. And then these are general purpose gloves. But whether it's a cut glove or a general purpose glove, or even a chemical glove for that matter, one glove I do want to point out is this 234. It's food grade cut 4. So if there's an application where you're putting disposables over a cut liner, that's not a bad glove to maybe take the place of that. And that one is launderable. Actually, all these are launderable for that matter. So that's something that we are available to do. Those glove audits are obviously free. More than happy to help. And if there aren't options, then I'll tell you that as well. But a lot of times we can find an application or two where we can save money, get a more comfortable glove, get a longer lasting glove, and it works out well for everybody. So those are the two key things: is how do we get around this disposable glove shortage, and how do we just help the bottom line this year, as business is kind of hurting in a lot of areas. So with that, I just want to thank you for your time. Feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, Conney is a great distributor of ours. A lot of great people. We work very closely with them, so reach out directly to them, and they can always get a hold of me as well. So I really appreciate your time, and thank you for having me on.
Ellen Tracy from Honeywell is here to talk a little about anti-fog glasses and proper cleaning procedures when it comes to fall protection.
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Tracy. I am the PPE Solutions Specialist for Honeywell. I am your contact within the state of Wisconsin, and I'm happy to discuss some Honeywell solutions for cleaning your PPE today. Honeywell represents a few brands within the industry as shown on this slide. Today in particular, we're going to speak to our Miller products and our Uvex products. Miller is our line of fall protection, and Uvex is our line of eyewear. Those two products seem to be the items that most of our customers and end users are asking for assistance on when we discuss cleaning and back to work. OSHA has come out with some guidelines in regards to our employees returning to work. One of the guidelines within the alert that I'd like to call attention to is that we are supposed to discourage workers from using other workers' tools and equipment, as well as practicing social distancing. One of the issues that we have encountered with our new PPE requirements within the industry has been eyewear fogging up and how to clean that eyewear. What I'd like to bring to your attention is within our Uvex line of eyewear, we have Hydro Shield in our lenses. If an eyewear has Hydro Shield in it, it means that the anti-fog is baked into the lens, which means that your employee cannot scratch off the anti-fog coating or clean off the anti-fog coating. If they are not using a Uvex line of products for their eyewear, we can then discuss how to keep that clean within the family of the Uvex family of Uvex products. Using these products will help to remove the dirt, dust, and debris. And you can see within the slide, there are many different solutions for cleaning that eyewear. There are eyewear stations, there are sprays, there are wipes, and then the spray is refillable with the gallon jug. What this will do is help to reduce the visible soil that is on the lens. It is also safe on all lenses and coated surfaces. And additionally, the gel gives you a mess-free application and is a good solution for someone who is wearing prescription eyewear underneath and over the glass safety eyewear. When we discuss fall protection, one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that you cannot use chemicals such as over-the-counter Lysol and Simple Green to clean your fall protection. It hasn't been tested and it hasn't been evaluated. If you expose the stitching on your fall protection, it can be detrimental and it could degrade and ultimately affect the product's original design and strength and requirements. There are guidelines available from the CDC as referenced in our attachment here, which shows the website for CDC and coronavirus in regards to cleaning and disinfecting the workplace. Another question, as we've mentioned, that has come up is sharing PPE. Again, we do not recommend that workers share PPE. Finally, we do have a handout and blog post on how you can clean your Miller fall protection equipment. When we talk about cleaning, we also want to look at general harness safety and guidelines. You're going to make sure that you always read all of your instructions and warnings, that you inspect your fall protection prior to each use. All of the training should be done by a competent person. Understand your local, state, and federal regulations. Have your rescue planning in place, have your fall, after a fall in place, and make sure you're working with your safety professionals. We want to make sure that we send you home in the same condition that you went to work in the morning. And finally, if there are any additional questions, I have included the information on how to engage with myself, Tim Guerra, our fall protection specialist, Ann Special, our respiratory specialist, and Mark Solberg, our zone manager.
Next up from Kimberly-Clark is Brian Bruix, who will be talking about some wiper offerings pertaining to COVID and tips for staying compliant while at work.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brian Bruix, and I am the Business Development Manager for Kimberly-Clark. First of all, thank you for your time and attention here today. I really appreciate all the current business you do with Kimberly-Clark right now, but I also want to talk to you about a couple of opportunities that I really think you should be thinking about, and it can really help you as well. And the first thing I want to talk about is sustainability and your environmental position. Many of you, I am sure, have an environmental sustainability program already, and you probably have some bigger aspirations moving into 2021. How many of you know about the Kimberly-Clark Right Cycle program? So for those of you that have never heard about the Kimberly-Clark Right Cycle program, it truly is a revolutionary game changer within Kimberly-Clark. We provide a program that allows you to utilize your current Kimberly-Clark single-use apparel, your nitrile gloves, and your eyewear. These have to be consumed with non-hazardous materials, and we allow you to put the product in some boxes, and all you have to do is pay for the freight. We literally then we would work with a third-party company to have that product get shipped from your premises out to the company that would then convert the product into plastic pellets. And those plastic pellets can be used to create flower pots, patio furniture, plastic shelving. It is just a great way to convert the Kimberly-Clark apparel that your company is utilizing, or the nitrile gloves or the eyewear, and convert it into plastic pellets. It is a fantastic way for you to advance your environmental footprint, your sustainability goals, and help you reach your zero landfill goals, if that is in fact on your priority list moving forward. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions around the Right Cycle program. And the best way to really understand all the details and to ask all the right questions and to really get all the right information is to reach out to myself. My name and my email will appear several times during this presentation, or you can reach out to your local Kimberly-Clark representative, and they will do a virtual presentation on Right Cycle. And if you don't know who your Kimberly-Clark representative is, again, just reach out to myself, and I will make sure that I follow up with them as well. But those that have utilized the Right Cycle program have received many benefits, and it's just a great way of, again, of showcasing how you are putting your words into action when it comes to your sustainability initiatives moving forward. The second thing I want to talk to you about today is coronavirus and the environment that we're living in today. As we all know, the world has completely changed since early March. The heightened awareness around hygiene is at an all-time high, and there's no doubt that the way that we used to go to work will change forever post-coronavirus. And the best way that I can help you all get prepared for when the employees start coming back to your facility is to make sure that you are providing them with the right level of sanitation, cleanliness, and hygiene to avoid anybody really getting sick. And our wipe-off products are the #1 disposable wipers in the B2B channel. Our wipe-off products are very compatible with a lot of the chemicals that you probably already utilizing to clean out the spaces of where your employees work, maybe on your manufacturing machine lines. But it's a great, we have a very broad range of products to help you fulfill any of your cleaning and, more importantly, your hygiene needs. In fact, we'll even come out and do some demos or maybe we might have to do it virtually as well to showcase how well our products work with your cleaning products, but to also make sure that you're following the guidelines and to make sure you're not reducing the efficacy and to actually improve the compliance as well with our white ball products. Again, I would ask you to reach out to your local Kimberly-Clark representative or reach out to myself if you don't know who your KC rep is, and we'll be more than happy to set up any sort of demonstration or provide any samples that you might need for your business, because white ball is the brand of choice when it comes to disposable wiping. And again, it really helps to make sure that you're providing that clean, safe environment for employees to work in as well. And last but not least, what I would just say is when it comes to your overall safety and PPE concerns, the Clean Guard brand, as you can see the shirt that I'm wearing today, that is our brand for our PPE products. When it comes to our apparel, when it comes to our eyewear, when it comes to our gloves, just making sure your employees are safe. But our products drive a high level of compliance because of the way the products fit you from an apparel standpoint, the way your eyewear fits you and provides the comfort and the look that your employees are looking for, and also the gloves. They're easy to put on and remove as well too. Our Clean Guard brand provides the brand promise that you deserve for your employees. And we have a very large line of PPE products, and we would love to come out and understand some of the needs that you may have within your operations to see if we can help you drive compliance and provide safer products to use for your employees. Because as we all know, it's not just providing a safe environment, it's also making sure that your employees are safe as well too. And a lot of times what we find out is that the products in PPE, a lot of the injuries that occur, even in eyewear, come from a lack of compliance. People just don't wear the eyewear because it's not comfortable, it doesn't look well. But we also know that when employees have apparel that allows them to breathe, it allows them to function and do their jobs, and put on eyewear so that they don't have any issues, that drives compliance and also provides that level of safety that you're looking for from your employees. So again, we'd be more than happy to sit down and talk to you about our Clean Guard brands, our white ball brands, and our Right Cycle program. We're very proud of our brands, but more importantly, we want to be able to provide you with the solutions that you need to help keep your business running safe and sound and drive compliance with your employees as well. So one of the things I was talking about is compliance. And compliance is a big word today. You know, did you know that the number one issue that we read about every day from eye injuries that occur in the workplace come from a lack of compliance because your employees are not properly putting on their eyewear? Well, I want to show you a quick demo. This is our Nemesis eyewear. The number one reason people aren't wearing the eyewear is because it doesn't feel good, it's not comfortable to wear, and believe it or not, it doesn't even look good. So I'm just going to put on my Nemesis eyewear glasses, and you can see how that already has improved my image, but they're extremely comfortable. I wear these a lot, actually, when I'm out in my yard doing some weed whacking, and I use this around the house when I'm trying to protect my eyes. They're also very pliable. You can't break our Nemesis, okay? So they're just a great product to use over and over again. But again, our Nemesis eyewear drive compliance. Our customers love it when they provide these to their employees because their employees wear it. And we have many different styles, many different colors. This is just one of our most popular colors right here. So if you have eyewear that fits well, that is comfortable, that looks good, you will significantly drive your compliance and cut down on any safeties that you might have with your customers when it comes to protecting their eyewear. So again, we look forward to having any conversations with you to discuss more about our Nemesis and Maverick and Smith & Wesson eyewear line of products for your organization. Okay, so in summary, thank you for your time today. You know, you heard a little bit about our sustainability platform with our Right Cycle program. You heard about how we can help improve the hygiene and the efficacy of your facility with our brand White Ball. And you also heard a little bit more about some of our PPE products and how they can help drive compliance with the example that I shared with the Nemesis eyewear. What I would ask is for each and every one of you is, if you would like to have a Kimberly-Clark representative reach out to you and talk to you about any one of these platforms, we'd be more than happy to have that conversation. I know we're living in the virtual world today with the coronavirus concern that we have. So feel free to reach out to me on Brian Bruex at brian.bruex@kcc.com. You'll see my email appear a couple of times. If you know who your Kimberly-Clark rep is, feel free to reach out to them. And we also have a great website, and you'll see that pop on the screen, www.kcprofessional.com, which has a lot of new information that I think that'll be very beneficial for your organization. So we look forward to having further dialogue to help you with your environmental proposition. Look for ways that we can help you reduce cost and drive compliance. Our CleanGuard brand at Kimberly-Clark delivers an awful lot of value, and we'd like the opportunity to sit down and talk to you a little bit more about it. So thanks again for your time, and we look forward to having more conversation in the future. Have a good day.
Last is a short message from Bruce Pagel from Tingley, who wanted to talk about a couple things regarding foot protection.
Well, hello everybody. This is Bruce Pagel from the Tingley Rubber Corporation. As our theme is Get Back to Work Safely, we're pleased and happy to participate along with Conney Safety and their fine customers. Just wanted to share with you one product specifically that fits the theme of the presentation here, and that's our Boot Saver product. We are our core markets really are food processing, petrochemical, construction, and transportation, but the food processing area has remained fairly strong for us during this pandemic. And our Boot Saver product, which I want to share with you, is originally designed for food processing, but what we have basically is a latex food cover that comes in 4 sizes and 4 colors. This is designed to go over an existing shoe or boot to prevent cross-contamination when walking through departments in a food processing facility. It's also designed to provide color departmentalization. Certain areas want to be color-coded certain colors. Again, the colors they come in are yellow, blue, black, and red. Largest seller is yellow. However, we are getting calls for these products in telecommunications companies that are having people walk in and out of their facilities or their homes, people walking around supermarkets, a lot of off-food applications. So we're going to attach a presentation or a white paper that explains the merits of the latex food cover or Boot Saver to help you get through some of the increased concerns with contamination during this pandemic. Also wanted to share with you one more product that's been in the line for a while. This is our Iron Eagle rain suit, which is used primarily in sanitation in the food processing area. That is a very big market for us. Our Iron Eagle product continue to grow. They are featured in the Conney catalog, and I've sold them for many years. They come in 3 colors, yellow, green, and blue. And again, used primarily in food processing and sanitation applications, which during this pandemic, people are becoming more and more aware, and our demand is climbing. So please refer to our website for additional product information, www.kingleyrubber.com, and thanks for watching.
Alrighty, so as I mentioned before, we won't be doing a live Q&A, but we will leave the webinar open for a few minutes here for people to submit questions, which we will make sure to get answered for you. Also, for people who send in questions with your registration, if your questions were not answered in these presentations, we will make sure to follow up and get those answered as well. Thanks again for joining, and have a great day. If you want to forward or rewatch this webinar, it will definitely be available on Connie's website. Also, if you missed the first SafetyCon or any other webinar Connie has done, you can find them on our website as well.